Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. I hope you're not working at all this week, but if you are, I hope your work week's off to a good start, and it's a short one. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and a ton to react to over the sports weekend. College football playoff is underway. We'll talk about it. LSU basketball played a game on Friday night. They'll play another one tonight inside the MEAC. We'll talk about that. LSU's roster is kind of taking shape for the Texas Bowl. The coaching staff taking shape for the Texas Bowl and beyond. And Denton Day going to be with us at 2:30. So plenty to do over the next couple of hours. Lock us in, and we'll crank things up with our favorite Chevrolet GMC opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Got to start with the Saints. Have to start with the Saints. So back on Friday, I picked this game, and I said, look, I'm taking expectation into a Saints game for the first time all year. You're playing a little bit better. Your quarterback's playing well. You're playing one of the worst teams in the league that is actively trying to lose football games. You need to just go out there and take this one. I want to see production through the air from the quarterback, not just dink and dunk and do enough to win at the end of the game. I want to see production throughout the game. I want to see you control the football game. And I picked it 27-7, and I wasn't too far off there. And the Saints, I thought, did control the game. They win it by 23 points. 29-6 was the final in the Dome over a hapless Jets team. The Saints win their third game in a row, now 5-10, finished their home slate with a victory, 3 wins in 8 tries at home this year. And I thought it was a really nice performance. You have to address the fact that the Jets are putrid. Like that can't be completely left out of this evaluation of the game. Like they're just awful. But New Orleans played, I thought, a good game on Sunday. It was a little bit sluggish on the scoreboard because in the first half, you got stopped on the QB sneak and you weren't able to get close enough for Charlie Smith to try from inside 61 at the end. And you didn't put the ball in the end zone when you felt like you were moving the football significantly. You fumble on the first drive there. You were moving the ball, the yards were there, the points didn't follow, and ultimately you continued to move the ball and you got in the end zone. And I thought the biggest thing in this game wasn't actually Tyler Shuck's 308 yards, which was great, and we want to talk about it, but I thought that I thought the Saints in this game controlled the line of scrimmage both ways in the passing game. You sacked Brady Cook 8 times in this game, 8 times, and Tyler Shuck was only pressured on 17% of his dropbacks. That was as good as you had been all year protecting the passer. And so when you control things up front, which the Saints did with their pass rush and the Saints did as they threw the ball, you're off to a great start there. And I thought that was the biggest thing in this game, and then the production came after it. Look, Tyler Shuck is doing this without a running game, and you didn't really have a running game. Taysom Hill carried it 12 times for 42 yards. Your longest run of the game was the reverse to Mason Tipton. But like a traditional give the ball to the running back, you didn't have any of that. Altrick Estime had 5 carries for 19 yards. Evan Hull had 5 carries for 3 yards. Like you don't have healthy running backs. You don't have a running game. And Tyler Shuck is still producing and moving the ball. And he's doing this without really an NFL receiving core. You got Olave, who's a first-round pick and had over 100 yards in the game. And then beyond that, it's kind of some guys who might be on practice squads elsewhere. Like Mason Tipton, shout out, 4 catches. Kevin Austin, who's been on practice squads, gets a couple catches. You're getting Dante Pettis involved. You're getting Jack Stoll involved at tight end. Altrick Estime makes 3 catches. But your quarterback is playing very well, and he's doing it without a requisite amount of options in the wide receiving core, and no running game. So this is very encouraging. And I thought Tyler Shuck played a great game on Sunday. He finishes 32 of 49, 308 yards and a touchdown, doesn't throw an interception against a team that didn't have one all season. 3 sacks, but I thought was really good. I mean, the throw he made to Olave that got knocked away in the end zone was a perfect throw right in the hands of Olave. And then he makes the touchdown throw down the right sideline, which was really nice throw and catch and a really nice design on that route to get that rub that Juwan Johnson created. And Olave got it clean down the right sideline, put it right on the money. You're seeing a quarterback that's playing with confidence, that's playing under control, and that's delivering the ball extremely well. And every week he goes out and does this, you just start to feel better and better. And this is, as I said all last week, like it was an expectation to go out there and light up the Jets. They just gave up almost 350 to Trevor Lawrence a week prior. I know that you don't have a full complement of wide receivers and your running game's not great and the offensive line's a little bit patchwork and all that, but this team is actively trying to lose. Their best defensive players were traded at the deadline. They don't have anything. Go light them up. And I thought that Tyler Shuck lit him up. I thought he looked great. And I think you can sense that he has spearheaded the beginning of this turnaround. I think that's completely fair to say. And there are some other guys that have been involved in that. Like, I got to give a hat tip to Chris Olave in this game. You're not facing elite defensive backs here, but to go 10 catches for $148 and 2 touchdowns, like that's legit. And I think it's a smart thing by Kellen Moore and by Doug Nussmeier and by Tyler Shuck and eventually Taysom Hill. Hey, we only got one guy who's really a true NFL dude at wide receiver. Let's throw him the ball. And they threw it to him 16 times in this game. Good. I don't need to spread the wealth when the other guys aren't as good as Chris Olave. Give him the ball. And he produced. Did a great job. Juwan Johnson got involved. You targeted him 9 times. He made 8 catches. And then you kind of fill it out with the rest of cast of characters. But I thought offensively, really good stuff by the Saints through the air. Maybe your ground game gets going next year when you get healthy running backs, and we'll see what the offensive line looks like moving forward. But it's just not there right now, and that just is what it is. Defensively, pass rush was excellent, no question about it. Jonas Sanker makes a big play. You knew that Brady Cook was going to throw you the ball at some point. He's his second start. In his first start, he made 3 picks. He's an undrafted rookie playing without Garrett Wilson and what he's supposed to have out there. So you knew you were going to have a chance to make a play on the ball, and Sanker does make a play on the ball. He was the highest graded player on the Saints roster from Pro Football Focus on Sunday. That's awesome to see. And I thought that you had a lot of young players play pretty well. Kool-Aid McKinstry had a pass defensed in the game. Quincy Riley was out there, made a couple of tackles. Justin Reed had 9 tackles to lead you, had a pass defended. And you got the old guys too. Demario Davis had 8 tackles in a TFL, and then Cam Jordan with the 2 sacks, obviously. But I think you're seeing this Saints defense really take to Brandon Staley's defense as the season has gone on. And yes, this is against perhaps the worst offense in the NFL right now with Brady Cook and this Jets group of personnel. But this is not just a thing about Sunday against the Jets. It goes back to holding the Panthers to 17, holding the Bucs to 20 on the road. Dolphins only scored 21 points on the road. Falcons only 24. The Panthers only 7 in the first game between the two teams. Like, you're seeing this group really play well on all levels. You got the pass rush going. You know what Demario Davis is giving you in the middle, and I think the youth in the secondary is starting to really make some plays as well. So this is I'm trying not to overreact because it is the Jets and it is the Panthers. Like, you're not playing the elite of the elite. In the Jets' case, you're playing the worst team in the league. But it is moderately exciting to watch the end of this season and exactly what we hoped in August would play out, if you were being realistic, is playing out. If you were suggesting, well, maybe they'll win the South, maybe they'll get a home playoff, like, that wasn't realistic in August. Everyone said the Saints were in the bottom 5 rosters in the NFL. Everyone. But if you look at the schedule and you just pay attention to what rookie quarterbacks often do, which is start out bumpy and eventually play better football late in the season, with a new defensive coordinator on that side of the ball and a new offense on this side of the ball, like the hope was, hey, maybe they can get things going late in the season. And now all of a sudden, with Tyler Shuck at quarterback, you are 4-3. You've won 4 of your last 6, and you've got a chance to go to Tennessee and Atlanta the next 2 weeks and really finish this thing with a punch that can have that entire city feeling like this thing is moving in the right direction. It wasn't that long ago that the Saints fell to 1-8. It wasn't that long ago. You were 1-8. And now you can look at this and go, hey, this is starting to work. And you'll have to prove it again next year against better teams with a little bit different roster. But the first thing you've got to do, you got to walk before you run, right? The first thing you got to do is handle business against some of the lesser teams in the NFL. The Saints did that. They destroyed the Jets on Sunday. I'm not here to complain about that. I'm not here to throw cold water on that. It's a small hurdle to jump, but they jumped it. And your quarterback looks like he's really playing well. And now there's some energy in that organization, and hopefully they can carry that forward to the game this weekend at Tennessee, who's also not any good. And if you can get another one, that'd be 4 in a row. Man, it would just really feel like things are turned in the right direction for Kellen Moore, Tyler Shuck, and the New Orleans Saints. So great stuff in the Dome on Sunday. Just good vibes all the way around for New Orleans at this point. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we move on in the show. That is our opening drive. It's brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville. We'll take a time out. I want to talk about the college football playoff. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is that website. It is almost January 1st. Almost. And as of January 1st, Lifetime Roofing is going to give lifetime workmanship warranty opportunities. Lifetime workmanship warranty. That's almost unheard of. Lifetime workmanship warranty on your new roof. It's an incredible gift. You look at financing options, they've got them at Lifetime Roofing. 0% up to 18 months. So if you're in the market for a roof, even though you're not going to use your insurance because there hasn't been an event that qualifies for you, you just want to make sure you get that new roof put on, maybe before you're selling your home, you can finance it. If you do get insurance involved and you've got a sizable deductible, they can finance that as well. It's Lifetime Roofing. Got to take your roof seriously down here in this part of the world. We know that. Inclement weather happens. You want to make sure that your house, your family is protected. Lifetime Roofing is here to do that for you. As of January 1st, lifetime workmanship warranty financing options are available, 0% to 18 months. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online, lifetimeroofingla.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk about the college football playoff that cranked up over the weekend. SEC was in action. Had Alabama and Oklahoma. Had Texas A&M, Miami. Had Ole Miss and Tulane. So let's start with A&M and Miami. That was a very competitive football game that I was a little bit surprised to see as much of a slugfest as it was. I thought that Miami would be able to throw the football a little bit with Carson Beck. I thought that A&M's offense would be able to move the ball. And maybe that's because I'm just scarred by what I saw Texas A&M do to LSU's defense in Tiger Stadium, where it was just a track meet. But Texas A&M struggled to block Texas, and they could not block Miami. They could not block them. That game was won by Miami's defensive front. Texas A&M couldn't run the ball against them. They had 35 carries in the game for 89 yards. The two best backs on that team, Reuben Owens, 7 carries for 21 yards with a long of 8. Le'Veon Moss, 7 carries for 15 yards before he got hurt. They just could not run the ball. And then A&M became one-dimensional, and Marcel Reed was dropping back too much. He threw the ball 39 times in this game, and then Miami said, well, we're coming at you. And Bain and those boys on the defensive front were everywhere. And they had 7 sacks. Reed was constantly under duress, constantly on the move. And then he made some mistakes, which he has done. We talked about this on Friday in my keys to this game. Like, these two quarterbacks came into this game with 10 interceptions apiece. Carson Beck, in Miami's 2 losses, 6 interceptions total. Marcel Reed had an interception in 7 different games this year, and he threw 2 in this game, including the one that sealed it. But it was Miami's defensive front that just dominated this game. And they allowed Texas A&M to stay in it because they missed field goals and had a costly fumble that looked like it was going to cost them the game. But it didn't, because A&M could not move the ball. Now, I was beside myself in my living room watching this game in the fourth quarter when Miami scored that touchdown. And I had people tweeting back at me, and I'm just going to go back to this. There is no excuse for Miami to score a touchdown with 2 minutes to go in that game. None. That is terrible coaching by Mario Cristobal, who makes a career out of awful coaching decisions, sometimes that cost Miami games, and he could have cost them this game. You cannot allow Texas A&M to get that ball back. And everyone's tweeting at me, have you seen them try to kick field goals? They've already missed 3 field goals. The wind's blown. Here's the deal. You go down at the 4-yard line. You slide down. Here are the 2 options when you're running towards the end zone. You tell me what sounds better. Slide at the 5-yard line and trust your operation on a 22-yard field goal on the last play of the game. Or score a touchdown and give Texas A&M the ball with 2 minutes to go. What do you have a better chance of winning the game? And more importantly, What gives you a chance to lose the game? You can't lose in overtime, in regulation, if you run the clock out and kick a 22-yard field goal. You can miss it and go to overtime. The wind can blow. You can botch the hold. You could, but you would go to overtime. What is your hit rate on a 22-yard field goal? It's got to be 98%. So at this point, if you kick a 22-yard field goal as time expires, I think your chances to win that game are somewhere in the neighborhood of 98%. Is that unreasonable? I don't think it is. If you score and give A&M the ball back with 2 minutes, it wasn't like they gave them the ball back with 11 seconds left. There was a shade under 2 minutes. It was an eternity of time, and A&M went right down the field. A&M could have scored a touchdown there and gone for 2. You lose. There's no reason to give A&M the ball back there. Your hit rate on a 22, they were missing from 45 in the wind. You cut that in half to 22, I think you can handle it. And there is no guarantee of victory. You have the best chance to win if you settle for the field goal and do not let A&M touch the football again. I thought that was a terrible mistake by Miami, and they didn't pay for it, thankfully. So now if you're Texas A&M, you're fighting against the narrative. And look, y'all know I don't like Texas A&M. They're an annual opponent of LSU's. They are recruiting against LSU. It's a rivalry, and I believe A&M to have the resources to make things difficult on LSU. I do. So that's why I don't like them. So I'm obviously pulling against them in this game. And it would be easy for me to get up here and go, A&M was such a fraud all year. They weren't any good. They just played such an easy schedule. That's the only reason they got where they got. It would be easy for me to do that. I don't know necessarily that that's completely true. Do I think Texas A&M was one of the 2 best teams in the country? Do I think Texas A&M is in the class of Georgia, is in the class with Ohio State, is in the class with Indiana, is in the class with Oregon? I don't think they're in that class. I think Texas A&M had a really good team this year. I think it was complete. I don't think it had significant holes. It wasn't dominant. But what I had said all year was that I thought Texas A&M's schedule was very manageable. I thought their team was good. And I thought that we weren't necessarily looking at the top of the SEC as the just absolute machine that Alabama was for 15 years under Saban, as the just monstrosity of a defense that Kirby Smart had for those 2 national championships. I didn't think the top of the SEC was quite as good. Therefore, Texas A&M, elevating itself a little bit with a league that's not quite as good as it once was at the very top, has a chance to compete there. That's what I thought. And their last 2 games showed that they weren't ready to do that. And this is the second year in a row that A&M has had everything on the table in its home stadium and failed to score a touchdown. They did not score an offensive touchdown against Texas last year when Atlanta was on the line. They did not score a touchdown at all in this game against Miami, and that's going to be difficult. And there are a lot of folks that are suggesting that Marcel Reed's awful and they can't do anything with him. I've seen Marcel Reed play pretty well. Unfortunately, it's against LSU, but A&M is going to be a punching bag at this point for this finish, and that's probably fair, but it'll probably be a little bit overblown. I think A&M has made steps in the right direction. I'm hopeful that they are now back at the bottom of a mountain and have a hard time reclimbing it, because that's what has got to be the thing that's toughest for A&M. Knowing what they know about their lack of championship history, you got to the point where you were near the top of the mountain, had a chance to break through. Now you're back down with everybody else. You got to go do that again, and it's really hard to do in the SEC. And they're losing their entire offensive line, losing their best pass rusher. They're going to have to patch some holes that are moving on. But it was a good season for Texas A&M. There was a very good sequence of events for them with the people that they brought in, with the team that they assembled, and then with the schedule that they were given. And they threw up on themselves here at home. They did. And it was a game they just played very, very poorly in. And Miami deserved to win the game. They made some mistakes. They deserved to win the game. And I'm not going to tap dance all over Texas A&M's grave here, because I got a 7-5 football team that they ran out of the stadium in Tiger Stadium earlier this year. But that's a big missed opportunity for Texas A&M. They would have had a second-round game in Dallas. Now, I think they would have lost it to Ohio State, but that's a pretty good opportunity, and couldn't make it happen. So the other piece that I want to talk about in this segment is the Alabama game. Alabama, Oklahoma seems like a long time ago now. And it looked like at one point, and I tweeted this out, I didn't delete the tweet or anything, but I just said it was a fait accompli that the guy that replaced Saban would fail. And he was down 17-0 in this game and looked like he was going to lose his 8th game in 2 years. And they just roared back. Absolutely roared back. Won the end of the game 34-7. And it was a blowout after the first quarter. Blowout by Alabama. And it's interesting because I think if you play this game again, I would favor Oklahoma. It's weird to say that, but I thought there were a sequence of events that were unlikely. I thought the pick six was an unlikely play, but it was a total and complete game changer. I think that Tate Sandell missing field goals is unlikely. We talked about kicker being one of the X factors in this game, where Alabama had Talty, who had been missing, and Oklahoma had Sandell, who's the best kicker in the country. And if it's a close game late, like, you're going to trust Sandell. And in fact, Talty performed, and Sandell missed 2 kicks. He had not missed since his first kick of the year. He missed his first kick of the year and then made 22 in a row and then missed 2 late. And I think that's unlikely. I think Oklahoma did some things that are just uncharacteristic. And the one thing I'll give Bama a ton of credit for is that they stopped the Oklahoma running game. And I thought that they would have struggled to do that. They played very well. Now, Bama is still not a threat to win the national championship this year because they cannot run the ball. 25 carries, 28 yards in this game. Now, you had 22 of those were negative from Simpson on sacks. But look, your leading back in the game was Danielle Hill, 9 carries for 43 yards, and 30 of them came on 1 run. Bama is too weak physically in the ground game to compete with the best teams in the country. But you do have to give them credit in this game because in the second half, they dominated Oklahoma. They made the plays they had to make. Simpson made the throws he had to make. The defense stood up to the Oklahoma ground game, and they were just much the better team in the second half. And so I thought Oklahoma would win the game. I thought that Alabama would struggle to run and therefore struggle to score points. They found points every which way in the second half, and I think you got to give them a lot of credit. Here's my take. This may be unpopular or may be foolish. I don't know which one, but I'm good with Alabama winning this game because I like Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is going to create a monster in Tuscaloosa, even close to what Kirby Smart has at Georgia or what Nick Saban built at Alabama. I think he's a good coach, and I think he'll have good teams, and I think they'll make the playoff. But I don't think he's going to build a monster in Tuscaloosa, and because that's a possibility when you get the right coach in there, I'll pass on that. I'll take the guy who's got a team right now that can't run the ball at all, that's lost 7 games in the last 2 years, and I believe will lose its 8th game in the last 2 years in their next one against Indiana. We'll see. Look, you won a playoff game, so it seems like everything's good, but as I step back, that's okay. If they want to keep him there, I'm fine with that. We'll see if Michigan comes calling or not, but I'm good with him in Tuscaloosa. So that's the 2 games that really matter in the playoff. At the end of the hour, I'll talk about the games that don't matter in the college football playoff because we had to watch 2 of those on Saturday afternoon and evening. But for right now, we'll transition things back to LSU. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, under new ownership. New ownership there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. But you know the Fabry family name. You've known it for 35 years in this town. They've had 3 different locations, 5 different brands. This is their point for Chevrolet and GMC. So if you're looking for a Tahoe, looking for a Silverado, looking for a Suburban, they got you covered on the Chevy front. They're looking for a Sierra, a Yukon, Denali on the SUV front for the GMCs. They've got them as well. Huge inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville. You can see the whole inventory online at fabrychevrolet.com. That's fabrychevrolet.com. And if you're getting on the road coming up this week, a lot of folks are, whether it's a quick hour drive or you're making a haul somewhere, make sure your car is in right shape. You can go and get it serviced there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They will service any make in their service department there. So it doesn't have to be a Chevrolet or GMC, but if you're in the St. Francisville area, want to have wonderful customer service experience and make sure your car is running the right way, Fabry Chevrolet GMC is happy to help you out in St. Francisville. Again, you can find them online, fabrychevrolet.com, fabrychevrolet.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, chugging along here on this Monday. I know a lot of folks traveling this week for the Christmas holidays. If you're making us part of those travels, we appreciate you. Whether you're listening live on the app or in the car or maybe via podcast, we appreciate you making us part of your travels. Do it safely. Hope everybody has a great holiday week here with friends and family. I was with the Myers man in the PMAC back on Friday night, LSU in Southeastern in a game that feels like it was 6 years ago. LSU won 78-65. It was a mediocre effort by LSU, candidly. I thought the defense was poor in the first half. LSU allowed Southeastern to score 36 points in the first half on 50% shooting. This is a Southeastern team that had not been good offensively coming into this game, and I was really hoping that LSU could hold them under 60 points in the game. They didn't go nuts. They only scored 65, but that was in large part due to the fact that they only scored 29 after halftime. It was a lethargic defensive effort, in my opinion, in the first half to let Southeastern do what they did. But LSU used its offensive skill in the first half to distance itself. It was 50-36 at halftime. LSU threw 50 points up on the board before halftime. And I thought in the first half there was a lot of really good offensive rhythm. Deon Thomas was very, very good, had 12 points, got to the free throw line 7 times in the first half. McKinnon knocked down a couple of early threes. Nwoku was really efficient with his scoring. He played 14 minutes in the first half, which is good because he didn't get in foul trouble, which we talked about on Friday. And before half, had 11 points on 4 of 4 shooting and made all of his free throws. Look at the game box. Nwoku leads LSU, second for LSU with 18 points. Markel Sutton got the 3-point ball going a little bit. He was 3 of 4 from deep and scored 19 points. So a good effort, I thought, from LSU there. The one concerning statistic, and I talked about this in the preview I wrote for tonight's game against Prairie View, is that LSU's bench was non-existent offensively in a game against a team from the Southland Conference. You just didn't get any production from your bench. You had 9 points total, and you look at where that came from. Jalen Reese had 2, Rashad King had 3, Robert Miller had 1, and Ron Zipper hit a late 3. And you're just not getting a lot of offense from those guys. You need a little bit more offensive pump from Robert Miller. He played 23 minutes in this game and did not attempt a field goal statistically. Now, he went to the free throw line and shot 4 of those. So he was shooting. He was in the act of shooting when he was fouled, so you don't get credit for that. But he needs to be a little more assertive than that. In 23 minutes of action, he needs to put some shots up. He's a skilled big who can play around the rim and help you there. So I'd like to see a little bit more from him there. And they got to find something from their backup 2 guards, whether that's PJ Carter or Ron Zipper, whoever you want to play. Those guys didn't play a lot in this game. They totaled just 9 minutes. I think those guys can shoot the ball and need to be some sort of help offensively. You're going to do this. The heavy lifting is going to be done by the starters, obviously. Thomas is going to run the show. McKinnon is going to shoot threes. Sutton is a balanced scorer, can do it both ways. And then Nwoku is really giving you a lot around the rim. So, LSU scored 78 points in this game, shot 54%. It wasn't a bad offensive effort, but I just think you need a little bit more from some of the guys coming off the bench, and you gotta get some offensive punch from those guys. But overall, it was a pretty mediocre effort. You were never in any sort of danger whatsoever of losing the game, by my estimation. You end up winning it by 13. Just not the best. And then tonight, you get a complete and total mismatch. I wrote about it over at LouisianaSports.net. This is a Prairie View team that comes in, and you look at their record and go, oh, well, this is a team that's got 5 wins. That's not that bad. 5 and 7's 5 and 6 is not a terrible record. And then you realize who they've beaten. And 4 of their wins don't even count when you look at the net. They've beaten, listen to these schools. I got a kick out of reading this. Prairie View has beaten Paul Quinn College, Champions Christian College, the University of Dallas, and College of Biblical Studies. That's 4 of their wins.
I don't know. I think you sleep on the College of Biblical Studies. They sound kind of mean. They sound tough.
Look, the Champions Christian College team sounds like they win a lot. Sounds like they're really good. They're the champions.
They're the champs.
Who named that school? What do we do? What? That's not a good name for a school.
At all. No, don't get me wrong. They're not good names.
Champions Christian College. But so those are 4 of Prairie View A&M's wins. So they don't count. They're 1 and 6 when it comes to the net. It'll be a cool moment for Terrion Joseph. He comes in if you're looking for any reason whatsoever to watch this game. Joseph is a Baton Rouge native, went to Scotlandville, played with Javonte Smart, played with Reese Beekman, who ended up at Virginia, started his career at Southern, then went to UTSA. Now he's at Prairie View, and he's scoring 21 points a game to lead the Panthers. So he's a volume shooter. He shoots a lot, and he scores a lot of points. So he'll have, no doubt, a nice crowd there, and he'll be a guy that LSU's going to have to run around and guard. It's a left-handed shooter and shoots a lot. So it'll be cool there. I talked about the bench. That's something that I want to see in this game. And here's a statistic that is a little bit concerning for me in regards to LSU and how they've played. They haven't been a bad defensive team, but they have not at all been a disruptive defensive team. LSU ranks 279th in the country in forcing turnovers. You've got to be a little bit more active and disruptive than that. You've got to limit teams' shots. You got to take the ball away. It creates easy offense for you, but also it limits shots. And if you're not taking the ball away, you're giving teams too many opportunities to get shots up. Wichita State crushed this Prairie View team and turned them over 17 times. I would really like to see LSU force 14 or 15 turnovers in this game. against Southeastern back on Friday, you didn't turn them over nearly enough. They finished the game with 9 turnovers. A Southland team, you need to be turning them over a little bit. You need to be a little bit more aggressive, get in some passing lanes, get your hand on the basketball, get some deflections, get the ball going back the other way. That's something I'd like to see LSU do a little bit more of, and this is a chance to do that because it's not a very good Prairie View team. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Of course, I always tell you that I want to see LSU make jump shots. I just think the more jump shots you make, the more confidence it builds, and then teams look at that on tape and they have to change the way they play defense a little bit. McKinnon backed up his heater of a night back in New Orleans last Saturday with a nice game on Friday. He makes 3 of his 5 from deep. Sutton made 3 of his 4. LSU was 9 of 22 from deep. That's 41%. That will play. Absolutely. LSU's not going to be a team like Alabama, like some of Bruce Pearl's Auburn teams, like Kentucky last year, that they want to put up 35, 38 threes. Like, LSU's not built like that. They want to throw the ball down in the post to Nwoku. They want to get the ball moving towards the rim with De'Don Thomas. So they're going to settle closer to 25 threes going up. Most nights they're 22 on Friday, and that's good. You don't want to settle for threes, but you do want to take some and make some to make teams go play defense, and I think LSU has done some of that and shot the ball well on Friday, so that's a good thing. Again, it's these last 2 games, Prairie View and then Southern Miss, and then you get into the teeth of SEC play, and that's what we're here for. But there are some things you got to work on, some guys you need to get minutes to, and that's what these games are about. This is going to be a quad 4 game. Prairie View's in the 270s, in the 300s in the net, and they'll stay there. And so this is not a game that's going to help you with the metrics unless you blow them out by 50 and your efficiency numbers are really, really good. But it's another game, and if the kids are out of school and you want to bring them something to do to get out of the house, or got family in town looking for something to do, LSU tonight against Prairie View at 7 o'clock from the PMAC. Go check that out. I'll have a story up at louisianasports.net once it goes final. So Tigers moved to 10-1 by beating Southeastern back on Friday. They'll play again tonight, and then one more against Southern Miss, and then time for SEC play at the first of the year. So that's basketball talk for the day. We'll transition back to football. Let's talk about the other 2 college football playoff games and what needs to be done here, because that's something that's got to be said. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Swing Easy, GCBR.com. I'm telling y'all, if you hadn't been to Swing Easy, it is a great place to hang out. And if you've got a bunch of family over and you're looking for something to do in Baton Rouge, but maybe you don't want to go play 5 hours of golf at a course in town, well, go to Swing Easy. They've got great chairs and setups, tables. You get a private bay. You can play their music, turn on Pebble Beach or TPC Sawgrass. You can drink some of their cold beers, seltzers, wines that they've got. It's a great place to hang out, involve some golf in your family time. You can do that over at Swing Easy Golf Club on Seagan. It's right there near Perkins in the shopping center, right there on the right side. Just walk in. You're going to see an incredible spot to hang out and enjoy some time playing some golf. Maybe you want to get away from the family and go play some golf. You can do that too at Swing Easy Golf Club by yourself. It's a great, great spot. And I really love playing on the simulator. It's got great technology. I've told you this when I was doing that challenge we did a few weeks ago where I hit 600 golf shots. You could tell by the spin rate what ball I was playing. And so when I hit wedge shots with the Titleist Pro V1, they were backing up on the green. And when I hit with a beat-up Strixon that we had, it just bounced out and rolled out. The technology is that accurate when it comes to Swing Easy Golf Club and hitting on those simulators. So go check them out on Seagan near Perkins. The Swing Easy Golf Club online at swingeasygcbr.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping up hour number one here on this Monday. We will be back in action tomorrow on the 23rd. And out the rest of the week. We'll not be here on Christmas Eve. We'll not be here on Christmas Day. And we will take Friday off as well. So quick 2-day work week for us. However, LSU does play on Saturday in the Kinder's Texas Bowl. And so I'll have pre- and post game for the LSU Sports Radio Network on Saturday. And then back in on Monday of next week for a couple days. And then we'll take a little time off for New Year's as well. But I want to talk about the college football playoff, the other two games. And before I get into my thoughts, Jordan, I'd like to offer you an opportunity to apologize to our great listeners for your takes on Friday.
Whoa. I did get the A&M game right, though. I said Miami.
I'm only talking about Tulane Ole Miss.
Well, look, I will say this. Tulane would have played a lot better game if their quarterback knew how to throw a football. You know, that would have helped out a lot.
He plays in the American, so he's not going to be very good. You know, he's not.
He would have, because a lot of guys he missed wide open. I mean, a couple guys I'm like, dude, if you put it on him, he's wide open for a touchdown.
It's I'm not going to yell and scream and go nuts. It's not worth that because everyone now is going to be on the same page. Like people were fighting this last week and they've been fighting it previously. And you see folks on Twitter and people say, well, this and that, and got to give everybody a chance. And it's just lunacy. At the elite level of college football, there are haves and there are have-nots. And the have-nots can't compete with the haves. Period. They can't. We have 100 years of watching this. Every September, Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama play teams from the MAC and teams from the Southland Conference and FCS and every year we look up and it's 58-3. All the time. And when we're trying to crown a champion and identify the best teams in college football, we do not need to be offering spots as charity. We don't. We don't need to do that. Because it's ridiculous. And James Madison has no 4- and 5-star recruits and no first-round picks. And Oregon, as you heard on the broadcast in the Dan Lanning era, has signed 90 4- and 5-star recruits and is going to be pumping guys into the NFL as long as Lanning's there. In baseball, sometimes the lesser team wins. In basketball, you can spring a huge upset. In football, it is far less common because big, fast, strong wins in football. And the Big Ten and the SEC are big, fast, and strong, and the American and the Sun Belt are not. So we don't need to hold a spot to make everybody feel better in August. If the group of 5 wants to make its own playoff, I think that'd be great. I think it's great that North Dakota State and Montana play at their level. I think Tulane and James Madison and Louisiana Tech need to play at their level and let the big boys play at their level. We don't need to give charity. How awesome would it have been if Notre Dame was in Eugene on Saturday night instead of James freaking Madison? Like, I don't mean to be disparaging to James Madison. It's not their fault. But we looked at this system last year when Boise State got a bye for beating San Diego State and went, that's probably not great. And this year, you had a situation where Tulane reached the playoff because they beat North Texas. That is not the same as Alabama going to Athens and winning. It's not the same as Alabama going through a 8-game SEC gauntlet and coming out a 10-2 football team. If Tulane played in the SEC, they would be an under 500 team. They would probably be a 5-win team. But we're giving them a playoff spot because they're better than the other teams who aren't good enough to play in the SEC. It's ridiculous, and we need to change it because no one wants to sit there and watch those games. And yeah, I think if you played them annually, if you let 2 teams in annually, eventually somebody might win one. But what they're not going to do is rattle off 4 in a row. And I'm not 100% sure that Notre Dame couldn't do that. Now, I'm not clamoring that Notre Dame got jobbed this year because they didn't take care of their business, as I said a couple weeks ago, and they lost the 2 of the 3 big games they played. But I can say that and say, hey, we got to change the rules. And I have no use to ever watch a group of 5 team play in the playoff. I don't need to see it because I know what championship level teams look like. I watch them in person every year. Sometimes LSU's won, sometimes Bama's in Tiger Stadium, sometimes Georgia is, sometimes Texas is, Texas A&M, Tennessee, whoever. The very top of the SEC, the American cannot compete. We watched it in September, and then everyone was shocked that we saw it again in the same stadium. It's just not the same, and it's ridiculous to do this. You want to have upsets in a 68-team basketball tournament? Fine. That's fine. That's fine. If we're limiting this thing to 12, the G5's out. Sorry. This is not charity hour. And like I've mentioned this before, it's not apples to apples, but it's just in my line of thinking. I'm dealing with my personal experience. Like when I put my basketball shoes on in September at Loyola College Prep in Shreveport, I knew we weren't going to win the state championship. Not possible. Wasn't going to happen. And that was okay. Because we were going to play our non-district games, and then we were going to go play North Caddo, and we were going to go play Homer, and we were going to go play Spring Hill, and those were going to be big games for me and for our district rivals. And if we got to the playoffs, that's awesome. We won a playoff game my junior year. It was a night I'll remember forever. And then we went and played Lakeview the next game and got crushed because we weren't that good. It's okay to not be that good. And Tulane's not that good, and James Madison's not that good. Now, if they want to create their own league and go play in a group of 5 thing, perfectly fine with that. That's great. But we don't need to put them in the college football playoff every year. It's ridiculous. And this was an anomaly because the ACC was pathetic. And here's my deal. I don't need AQs. I'm okay going off of a subjective deal, putting teams in, and trying to get the best 12 and play with that. And that's going to include SEC teams and Big Ten teams and a Big 12 team here and there and an ACC team here and there. And we're just not going to play charity hour. It was ridiculous to sit there and watch. And if Oregon played James Madison tomorrow and Ole Miss played Tulane tomorrow, it would be the exact same thing. And to pretend otherwise is absurd. And so this was so obvious 2 weeks ago. It was so obvious last year, and it's obvious today. The haves need to play in the playoff. The have-nots should. And we saw that. It was just a wasted 7 hours of television time that could have been so much better with Vanderbilt and Notre Dame in it. So much better. But we got to make everybody feel better. Everybody's got a chance. You don't have a chance. You're James Madison. You don't have any good players. I don't know what to tell you. All right, that's it for hour number 1 here on this Monday. If you missed any of the first hour of our show today, catch it on demand. Open things up talking about the Saints. Third win in a row. Shucks playing great. Defense has been awesome. You can catch our Saints content at Hunt on Saints. Also, Ross Jackson's got a great column up on LouisianaSports.net that has done very well. That is just suggesting that how the Saints have done this thing the right way, and they're not tanking for a draft pick and sitting guys out and trading the farm. They're trying to win games, and they're doing a very good job of it. So you can catch our Saints content there. LSU content, you can find that at Hunt on LSU. We're going to talk some Tigers in hour number 2. We know LSU's coaching staff now. We have a better picture of who's playing in the bowl game for LSU coming up at the end of the week. So we'll get into to some of that as well. Plenty to do in the second hour, so make sure you join us on the other side of SportsCenter. Short week this week with Christmas coming up at the end of the week, so it's just today and tomorrow. But appreciate y'all for making us part of your day today. We'll step aside for national headlines at SportsCenter. Come back talking Tiger football on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Almost got there, didn't quite get there. Get to Marucci. It's not too late. Christmas presents can still be bought. If you've got a youth baseball player, youth softball player under your roof, Marucci is happy to help you out with that. You know, it's the official bat of Major League Baseball. They've got wooden ones that they make every single day. You're talking about 1,200 of them. You can go tour the campus and check that out. See how that process is made. It's something that they started just in the backyard 2004, 21 years later. They're churning them out by the thousands. And you can go tour the campus and see how cool that is. You can also go take some hacks in the cage. You want to do that with one of their wooden bats? You can do it. You want to do it with one of their metal bats? You can do it. If you're looking to buy a Christmas present for the youth baseball or softball player in your home, you can do that as well. Go check them out, maruccisports.com/campus-tour. It's maruccisports.com/campus-tour. You can do that, get that tour. Every tour comes with 20% off in the store. Marucci.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca, Week 16, wrapping up on Monday Night Football. The Colts trying to keep their playoff hopes alive against the Niners, activating defensive tackle DeForest Buckner from injured reserve. He'll return against his former team. Buckner has missed the last 5 games with a neck injury, has 5 sacks and 9 tackles for loss this season. Kickoff 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. Seahawks linebacker Derek Hall's 1-game suspension upheld on appeal, serving a 1-game ban for unnecessary roughness after stepping on the leg of Rams guard Kevin Dotson in Thursday's win. Ravens QB Lamar Jackson leaving last night's loss with what the team is calling a serious back contusion. He'll be day-to-day with hopes of playing against the Packers on Saturday. Baltimore eliminated with a Steelers win or a loss this week. In college football, Notre Dame and BYU, top 2 at-large teams left out of the college football playoff field, agreeing to a home-and-home series beginning next season, marking an end to the Fighting Irish's longtime annual series with rival USC for the foreseeable future.
Hey, it's Emmett Golden coming up on Tuesday on Unsportsmanlike. Who is the best team in the NFL heading into Week 17? I'll give you my power rankings at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. If, in fact, you are starting your work week, maybe you got the week off, which is a good thing as well. Either way, appreciate y'all making us part of your day. Going to talk a lot of LSU football here in hour number 2. Coaching staff, Houston, lots of stuff coming up here. But I wanted to start with who LSU's showing up to the Texas Bowl with. Matt Moscona reported over at LouisianaSports.net kind of what the outlook for the team is with opt-outs. And you can read that for free up at LouisianaSports.net right now. But I want to talk about it. I said last week that I felt like LSU was going to send a reasonably representative team over to Houston. And I say that understanding some of what we've seen in LSU football the last 5 years, like the John Shea Kirkland, Kansas State, Texas Bowl was a joke. Like, they didn't have a quarterback. And then the next year, you played Purdue, and all their good players left. And LSU was up 49-0 in that game. And those 2 games, as I've said many times, soured me on these bowls. I don't know how else to say it other than to say it soured me on the bowls. And I don't have a strong amount of passion for LSU beating Houston in this bowl game. But if I'm going to have to watch it and do a pre- and post-game show for it, I'd at least like it to be representative of 2 football teams going out there to play. And that's on both sides. Like, I didn't enjoy much watching LSU beat Purdue by 1 billion because it's not interesting. And I certainly didn't find it interesting to watch John Shea Kirkland play quarterback against Kansas State and lose by a lot. So I want there to be representative football teams out there. And it felt like LSU was going to have that last week, and you've started to see some of LSU's talent dwindle. So here's what you're looking for on defense, where you're really going to be missing some guys. You're not going to have Harold Perkins Jr. in this game at the star. Jordan Gilbert's going to fill in for him. You're not going to have Whit Weeks or West Weeks in this game. So those are your 2 primary linebackers. You're not going to have Jack Pyburn, probably your best defensive end. You're not going to have Mansour Delane, who is your best corner. You're not going to have A.J. Halsey, who has been your best safety. So you're missing your best edge rusher, your best defensive end, your 2 interior linebackers, your best corner, and your best safety. So that's a significant amount of hits on the defensive side. Who fills in those spots? Well, Jordan Gilbert will play the star. On the ends, you will have what I believe to be Patrick Payton, and then maybe Dylan Carpenter at the other end. At linebacker, you'll have Devon Keys, Tylen Singleton, and then maybe some of those freshmen, Zach Weeks, perhaps Charles Ross. Those guys fill in at linebacker. At safety, Deshaun Spears will play for A.J. Halsey, and your corners will be DJ Pickett and P.J. Woodland. I'm not sure exactly what LSU will do at that nickel spot. We'll see. But you're compromised on defense, and your defense was your calling card. Your defense was the strongest aspect of your team, clearly, and you don't really have its heartbeat. You've got your interior guys on the defensive line. That includes Ahmad Bro, who's going to play in this game, even though he's going to the transfer portal. But you got Don McKinley, you've got Jacoby and Guillory, you got Patrick Payton. You've got a lot up front. Everything beyond that, you're pretty compromised aside from Tamarcus Cooley. So it's a defense that's very different that Houston's going to see. Offensively, on the offensive line, you will be without Josh Thompson, who's been your right guard, who has led LSU in snaps played this year. But beyond that, you've got Braylon Moore, who is expected to play, and you've got Tyree Adams coming back to play left tackle, where he's missed the last month of the season. So your offensive line from left to right, Tyree Adams, Cohen Eccles, Braylon Moore, Paul Mabenga, Weston Davis, and Carius Kern is available in this game. He's going to the transfer portal as well, but he is going to play in this game. So you've got your offensive line intact outside of Josh Thompson. And then you go back to quarterback, where Garrett Nussmeier is not going to play. You go out to wide receiver. Aaron Anderson is not going to play. Matt wrote about this, and let me make sure that I'm correct on this. Nick Anderson is expected to play at wide receiver. So you've got a wide receiver core that does have Kyle Parker, that does have Nick Anderson, that does have Chris Hilton, that does have some guys that you've counted on. Certainly, you've counted a lot on Xavion Thomas as well. He's there. Trey'Dez Green is basically a wide receiver. He's available in the game as well. So you've got a lot there. At running back, I think Caden Durham and Harlan Berry are expected to be there. So your offense is pretty well intact outside of right guard. It's just not that good. So that's where you are there. Michael Van Buren will play in this game at quarterback. Juwan Johnson is going to play in this game. He talked to Matt Moscona on After Further Review 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, that said that he was going to enter the transfer portal, but he was going to play with LSU. So as I look at LSU's team, I see an offense that is really scuffling and bordering on inept, and I have a defense that's without the majority of its best players. So it's a compromised team that LSU is sending out there. However, there is not a position that's been impacted to the point where you can't fill the hole. And in some cases, you're going to see guys who have an opportunity to be impact players on next year's team. I'm thinking about Deshaun Spears. I'm thinking about Dylan Carpenter. I'm thinking about your young offensive linemen who theoretically could return. I'm thinking about young linebackers like Zach Weeks, like Charles Ross, like Tylen Singleton, who hasn't played a ton this year. I'm thinking about the opportunity of DJ Pickett to step into that number one cornerback role where he will be next year with Mansour Delane moving on. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's kind of a how do you choose to look at it? And I'll just tell you, here's how I'll look at it. I'm just assessing LSU's young players and hoping that they're back. Whether or not LSU beats Houston, I just can't muster a lot of energy on that. LSU will be on the field. That's great. I'll hope that they win. But when I watch LSU play, I generally am very anxious, very nervous on pins and needles. And that just won't be the case for this game. It's just kind of that part has been removed for me personally. I'm not telling you it should be removed for you or that it needs to be removed from you, just how I feel personally. So it's a deal where you've got enough players at every position to not have some sort of glaring issue. You don't have to move a wide receiver to running back. You don't have to make a safety go play corner. You don't have a gross deficiency of linebacker. And then quarterback's the most important thing. It's not that issue. It's just that LSU's just not going to send a very strong team out there. And I get the sense that Houston is going to field the majority of its roster and is fired up to play a big brand in LSU. And so LSU is going to be up against it from that perspective. My interest level is less about the result of the game and more about the guys who are young that could come back that I'd like to see make some plays. And I think the player who's got the most on the line in this game for LSU is Michael Van Buren. And I don't say that because I think that he's playing to try to impress Lane Kiffin. I say that because every player on a college football roster is a free agent in January. All of them, if they have eligibility left. All of them. And at that point, it's time to negotiate contracts. And Michael Van Buren has one more chance to go out there and play to help himself at the negotiating table at LSU or wherever he may be beyond this. And he's a guy that's got a lot on the line in this game because his 3 games of action haven't been awesome. He had a couple of moments against Arkansas. There wasn't anything to write home about in a game against Western Kentucky where you scored 13 points and LSU couldn't get out of neutral at all in Norman. You got one more chance. So it's a big deal for Michael Van Buren in this game and anybody who's going to be negotiating, but I think he has the most to gain potentially in this game. So that's just a look at where LSU is from a personnel perspective before we start to break down this game. I wrote a piece at LouisianaSports.net yesterday that went up today called Statistically Speaking that breaks down Houston by the numbers and what they are. And I'll tell you this, we're going to talk about it later on. This is the most unremarkable team on paper I've ever seen. Like, not bad or good. It's just like even Steven. But I think that you look at LSU, you've got a strength that's on your defense that's not really going to be out there. You got a weakness in your offense that's going to have most of its pieces, but it just hasn't been very good. So that's where LSU is entering the Kinder's Texas Bowl against Houston. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we move forward. LSU staff looks to be complete. I think they got a running backs coach. Saw that yesterday on Twitter. I'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. David has been at this for 3 decades. He is licensed, bonded, insured as a master plumber there at the Ready, and he's here to help you with all your needs in a bathroom remodel. It could be extensive. You could redo the entire thing. They do that kind of thing all the time. Take out showers, make them linen closets, take out big oversized jacuzzi tubs, make that a gorgeous glass walk-in shower, handle the floors, handle the vanity. They can do the whole thing for you at One Bath and Closet. You can see pictures of their great work online at OneBathAndClosets.com. But it doesn't have to be that big, that sizable, that labor-intensive, that time-intensive, that cost-intensive. It can be a tub-to-shower conversion that can be done in 3 to 5 days. Boom, done. And financing options are available. So whether it's a big project that you've got or something that can be very simple, David Vaughn and his team are happy to do that. Don't just call the guy down the street, hand him some cash, and see what he can do. Go with the company that's been at it for 3 decades. Call David Duvall or check him out online at OneBathAndClosets.com. OneBathAndClosets.com.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
A little bit of news on Twitter yesterday. LSU football sent out a tweet, said Sunday Fun Day. It had Lane Kiffin and most of his staff walking up the stairs. And it just really struck me as to how odd this entire situation is. Because a lot of the guys in the video are going to be coaching Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl coming up in the week. And they're on LSU staff. And one of those guys is Kevin Smith, who we now believe will be LSU's running backs coach. The reports came out yesterday. We've got it at LouisianaSports.net, about $1 million. And Kevin Smith's going to join Lane Kiffin. He's been with him 8 of the last 9 years as running backs coach, started over at FAU and then up to Ole Miss. He's thought of as a very, very good recruiter, thought of as a guy with a very, very tight relationship with Kewan Lacey, and now thought to be LSU's running backs coach. And so you look at this offensive staff that LSU has put together under Lane Kiffin, and you've got Charlie Weiss Jr., who's calling the plays for Ole Miss in the playoff. You've got Kevin Smith, who's coaching the running backs for Ole Miss in the playoff. You've got Joe Cox, who is coaching the tight ends for Ole Miss in the playoff. And you got George McDonald, who's coaching the Ole Miss wide receivers in the playoff. And their season's still going on, but they left Oxford after Ole Miss beat Tulane and came down to Baton Rouge, and they're getting stuff put in at the football ops building over there. It's wild. It's crazy. But it's the staff that Lane Kiffin really wanted to put together. The only piece he had to alter was offensive line coach, where you go get Eric Wolford, who's spent time at Kentucky and Alabama recently. And you've got essentially the brain trust that put things together in Oxford coming to Baton Rouge. And as I've said for the last month, it's just difficult for me to suggest that LSU is not going to field a really good offense in year one with these guys. You've got to go get players, and there's no doubt. And that, to me, opens the door to players leaving Oxford to come to Baton Rouge. And I think you start with the top two headliners in Trinidad Chambliss and Kewan Lacey. And we played the bites from those two guys last week when they were asked about potentially being in the portal, when they were asked about whether or not they'd be at Ole Miss next year, and they just dismissed it all. And it's the same thing we saw from Lane Kiffin, kind of dismissing it all. And when that happens, it's just natural to connect dots and go, okay, they're going to show up. And the thought in Oxford is that Kewan Lacey is likely going to follow Kevin Smith, and the thought down in Baton Rouge is do either or. Harlan Berry, Caden Durham head to Oxford for Frank Wilson. It's bizarre. And we'll see. what I found fascinating was I was listening to yesterday's podcast from Neil McCready and Chase Parham, who cover Ole Miss for 24/7. And they were sitting there the day after Ole Miss has won a college football playoff game. And they're looking ahead to the quarterfinal in the Superdome, in the Sugar Bowl. And neither one of them, based on the conversations they had, were sure if the Ole Miss assistants that coached in the first game were going to coach in the second game. There was a thought, perhaps, that the new offensive coordinator, who's from East Carolina, but who had worked under Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss and runs a similar offense, maybe he would take over because he's going to be the offensive coordinator next year, and there's enough time between games where that's crazy to me. But the fact of the matter, no one knows. Now, the people in the decision-making process know, but like us on the outside, we just don't have that information. And I think there are some people who are flustered by this on the outside. If you're an LSU fan, you're going, why are you letting Frank Wilson coach this team? Let Blake Baker do it. Send him to Oxford. And you've got Ole Miss fans that are like, I don't know if we really want it's just it's weird on every front. But we're starting to get some finality to it. And so I want to end with Kevin Smith here, and then we'll move to the defensive side of the ball because you've got hires on that side too. I was not going to be okay with LSU letting Frank Wilson walk out the door, especially to Texas, but even to Ole Miss, if Kevin Smith wasn't coming from Oxford. Because I felt like that would have been in the same vein as the Corey Raymond decision that Brian Kelly made, where you didn't have your guy, and then you didn't keep the LSU guy. With Kevin Smith coming, you've at least got a pedigree of worked for Kiffin, dynamic recruiter, thought to be, has worked in the SEC, and the Lacey connection, where we had the FaceTime that Lane Kiffin had that was recorded where he said that Kejuan Lacey and Kevin Smith were coming. But it feels likely that's going to happen. I would have been upset if Smith had stayed in Oxford, Frank Wilson had gone to Texas, and then you would have hired just some Joe running backs coach. I think that would have been a step down. Yeah, I've made my feelings clear about that. But with Smith coming, I feel less emotional and passionate about Frank Wilson leaving the program. I'll say that because I think you've got a proven guy that is really beloved in Oxford for what he's done there. So I think that's a good thing, and I think LSU's offensive staff looks exactly the way that Lane Kiffin wants it. And then the defense. You got Blake Baker to stick around, held off Tulane there. And then because Baker's there, you keep Kevin Peoples and Jake Olson, who he brought with him from Missouri to coach the safeties and the edge rushers. And then you keep Corey Raymond, which is obviously a huge, huge deal. And that's the lion's share of your defensive staff from last year that has really turned this thing around in Baton Rouge. You just need to hire a defensive line coach. Kyle Williams getting out of college coaching. And it appears that they've hired Sterling Lucas from South Carolina to be the defensive line tackles coach, basically. And you keep the continuity that you had with an ascending defense. That should also help you with player retention if you've got mostly the same coaches. The thing with Lucas, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know everything there is to know about evaluating defensive line coaches, especially when they're not in Baton Rouge. But you look at what South Carolina has been on the defensive front the last couple of years. You look at what Dylan Stewart was in high school and became in the college level. You look at what Kyle Kennard did, transferring to South Carolina and playing the way that he did. You had two guys on the All-SEC team on the defensive ends this year from South Carolina. It has been the strongest position group in that program has been their defensive line the last two seasons. And I don't know exactly how much credit needs to be afforded to Sterling Lucas for that. I would imagine a good bit. And so I think that's a great hire. And, this is something it's not something I want to spend a lot of time doing, but it would be negligent for me not to spend time doing it. You think about the transfer portal opening, position coaches leaving, and potentially we're talking about it with Kejuan Lacey and running backs. Why wouldn't I talk about it with Dylan Stewart and his position coach coming to LSU? Like, that's a guy might want to get involved with because he's really talented and going to be a first-round pick next year. So now you consider that may be a guy that ends up at LSU. You're seeing a lot of reports of guys re-signing places. It's just like free agency. And if you see a deal where Dylan Stewart re-signs, I don't know how binding that is, but could happen. Maybe he's in the portal. And that's the first thing I start to think of when you look at position coach hires is the impact that they're going to have on player acquisition in year one. And I think from LSU side on defense, you've got all your position coaches back but one on defense to help retain some players. And then you go fill that one slot you had open with a guy who is attached to one of the most talented players in the country. Could he end up in Baton Rouge? Maybe. Not ruling it out. I'm not tampering. I'm just a radio host. To be tampering assistant coaches talking, me, I can just discuss it. And that's something that would be very interesting if I was LSU and realize that I've got his position coach headed this way. So I think Lane Kiffin's staff, as I look at it as a whole, is very, very strong because you've taken the Ole Miss offense and brought that brain trust and talent acquisition group under Kiffin to Baton Rouge. And you've got a defensive staff that took over a terrible situation 2 years ago, have rectified that and made it into a top 20 operation in college football. And now they're remaining with one small change at defensive tackle coach in Baton Rouge. I think that's really good. So you look at this staff that Lane Kiffin's put together in year one, there's a lot to like. Lot to like about what LSU has got here. We'll see what they can do now with roster acquisition after the Texas Bowl coming up on Saturday. That'll be wildly fascinating to see how aggressive and successful LSU can be in the transfer portal now that they've got the staff kind of in place. And we'll see what these former Ole Miss kind of current head coach, kind of current Ole Miss coaches do about the Sugar Bowl. It's right down the road. They can get there pretty quick, but they got to practice as well. So it's a bizarre situation that I don't know that I could have forecast 10 years ago. But here we are with Ole Miss having former coaches, but kind of current coaches that are definitely LSU coaches, but still kind of Ole Miss coaches. Bizarre stuff in college football is what it is. We got 30 minutes left to go. Come back with us. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know what you're going to get with the Fabry family because you've gotten it for 35 years in this city. 3 locations, 5 brands. You know you're going to get phenomenal customer service. You know you're going to be treated right. And they are so excited about this new location, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Under new ownership, the Fabry family, since October 1st, got an incredible, huge inventory of GMCs and Chevrolets. Looking for a Tahoe? They got them. Looking for Silverado? Got them. Suburban? Got those too. All those Chevys on the lot. Looking for a Sierra, Yukon, Denali, the GMCs? They got those as well. Check it out. It's FabryChevrolet.com. You can check out the entire inventory there. You can see some of their fantastic deals as well. And you know your buying experience is going to be a very, very positive one because you know the Fabry name and you know how much of a pillar they are in the Baton Rouge community. And they're thrilled to be up in St. Francisville on Highway 61. Stop in and see them. Stop in the service department if you need your car tuned up. They service all makes in the service department there. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Lock Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Coming down the home stretch here. Final 30 minutes of our Monday show. We'll have another show tomorrow, regularly scheduled programming, and then we'll be off for the final 3 days of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for some family time. Back in action, for me at least, pregame show for the Texas Bowl on Saturday, and then another short work week the following week with the New Year holiday in the middle of it. But just today and tomorrow for us here, so appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. I write a piece on LouisianaSports.net every Monday during football season called Statistically Speaking, where I just simply list out all the statistics for LSU's next opponent. It's not meant to be the most thoughtful piece ever. It lays out information, and I color code it. Things that are good in the top 25 in the country, I put in green. Things that are bad in the bottom 50 of the country, I put in red. There are 136, 137 teams in the country, so if you're worse than 86th in something, I put it in red. If you're in the top 25, I put it in green. And I was really taken back looking at Houston offensively and defensively, because so rarely would I be able to put any of their statistics in either bucket. They are so unremarkable at everything, meaning just like average. They're not terrible at much of anything. They're not great at much of anything. On offense, the only two top 25 statistics that Houston has nationally are rushing attempts per game. They're 21st in the country. They run it a lot. And time of possession, they're 25th in the country at just over 31 minutes per game. So this is a Willie Fritz offense. You know they're going to run the ball. They've got Connor Wigman as their quarterback. You've seen him play in maroon and white. It was not all that pleasant. He's a limited quarterback who's got some decent athleticism. Houston just wants to run the ball. But they're not like awful at a lot either. The only bottom 50 statistics they have are ironically rushing touchdowns. They run it a ton. They don't run for a lot of touchdowns. Passing attempts, they're 98th in the country. And then explosive plays, 20-plus yard plays, they're 86th in the country in that. But everything else, third down conversions, interceptions thrown, passing touchdowns, yard per carry, total offense, scoring offense, all of that is between 26th in the country and 85th in the country. All of it. Just about average at everything. And I guess that's kind of how you become a 9-3 Big 12 team. It's not a very good league, They got whacked by Texas Tech, who's the good team in the league. They held their own with everybody else, dropped a couple, and they're unremarkable on offense. But what about the defense? Was that anything? No, it's not. In the top 25, you've got passing touchdowns allowed, where they're 20th, and you've got red zone touchdown percentage allowed. They're 9th in the country at preventing touchdowns in the red zone. So that's a good thing to be, but that's it. Those are the only two stats there in the top 25. And then you've got the things that are in the bottom, and there's only 2 of those as well. They're 119th in terms of tackles for loss, and then they give up a lot of big plays in the passing game. They're 89th in 20-plus yard passing plays allowed. Well, LSU is not going to hurt Houston with big plays through the air. LSU is awful at creating big plays through the air. I'll be stunned if LSU hits a bunch of 20-yard passes on Saturday. And LSU has been bad in the red zone offensively, and Houston has been very good at preventing touchdowns. But they're not great in terms of creating disruption in the backfield. They're 73rd in sacks. They're 119th in tackles for loss. So they don't get after you up front. LSU's offensive line hasn't been good. Houston shouldn't be able to just dominate LSU there in the way that Oklahoma did at times. But they're not remarkable anywhere else. There's just a bunch of 41st, 46th, 39th, 44th, 40th, 48th, 59th. These are the stats I'm reading off. They just don't do a lot great. So what I've done here is really probably not jazzed you up for the Texas Bowl here. It's a Houston team that is remarkably average across the board. Offense, defense, running game, passing game, run defense, pass defense, blah, is what it is. And so I did that exercise, and I put it up at LouisianaSports.net. I know that I've done such a great sales pitch, you're just going to want to run there and read about that. But I did that, and it was the first thing I had learned about Houston thus far. The only things I knew about Houston when I started this exercise were that Willie Fritz is their head coach, that Connor Wigman's their quarterback, and that they're in the Big 12. Like, that's all I had. So I was curious after doing that exercise and learning about what Houston's identity is, which is run heavy, not great, average in scoring offense and everything else across the board. Defensively, give up some big plays, not disruptive. Like, that's Houston. Like, I wonder what that means for the line in this game. And I kind of figured when I went through that exercise, I was like, I think Houston will probably be favored. They have more guys playing. They've won 9 games. LSU's got guys sitting out on a good defense, and the offense has been brutal. LSU scored 13 points on Western Kentucky. Couldn't get more than 1 touchdown against Oklahoma. Like, I think Houston will be favored. And they were. Houston's a favorite by 2.5 points in this game. And that probably sounds about right. Like, I'll give my final pick tomorrow. I think I will probably pick Houston to win the game because I just don't trust LSU's offense to score a lot. But this is not a very good Houston team. They don't do much well. And I don't think a ton of Connor Wigman as a college starting quarterback. That is 98% due to what he was at Texas A&M and 2% what he's been this year. But he's thrown for 2,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 9 picks. He's been fine. But I thought this morning at my desk, what's the hook for the Texas Bowl? Like, what can I talk about that's interesting for the Texas Bowl? And I think the most interesting thing about the Texas Bowl is that there's nothing interesting about the Texas Bowl. Like, it's the perfect irony. Does either team have a superstar? No. Is there some sort of rivalry? No. Is there a player to highlight or a matchup to highlight? Not really. Like, is there a clash of styles? No. Like, there's just nothing remarkable about this game. And I think that's the most remarkable thing about it. It's a weird dichotomy, weird way to think, but I can't sit here in good faith and like blow smoke and give you something that doesn't exist. I'm not going to sit here and fake like there's something super interesting. I think if you're trying to pry and dig and find something there, it's that Houston has a chance to beat a name brand team in its own city. and win 10 games. From LSU's perspective, you got a lame duck offensive staff, all eyes on the portal, lots of opt-outs on defense. I don't have much. So I will now summon you, Jordan, to determine what I'm supposed to talk about with this bowl game. What am I missing with this bowl game that I'm supposed to be jazzed up about?
I did like the fact that you're going to see possible – because you don't know who's going to be on the team.
Nope.
That's the hard part about it.
Deshaun Spears.
Pickett. I do like that.
Pickett.
Cooley, I would like to see. But again, you just said it.
Young linebackers.
Yeah, young. I would like just to see. You lose the touch of the bowl games because you don't know who's going to be back with the team. So I'm struggling to be like, I want to see. I'm just going on a limb. Hopefully DJ Pickett is back. But I want to see what DJ Pickett looks like. I want to see.
The two guys I'm comfortable saying are going to be back for money reasons is DJ Pickett and Trey'Dez Green are on the Nike deal. Yeah. And so I just feel like it's likely they're back. But anybody else?
Free game. They're all free game. It's the Wild West. We know what's going on. So, but I think that the nucleus of what the secondary could look like next year with the Deshaun Spears, your Coolies, your PJ Woodlands, I would like to see what. Oh, yeah, Pickett. I would like to see what they look like.
And it would be cool if you were playing like a high-flying team, but you're playing a team that runs the ball a ton.
And
so there's just less intrigue there.
There is, and I think the biggest problem, like you said earlier, was that LSU really doesn't have much to play for, and Houston's going to be juiced up. They're going to try and embarrass you. They're going to try their very best to go out there and make a statement. We already know how these out-of-conference teams look at the SEC the SEC's burning. Oh, they can't beat Houston. Oh, look at it. You already know how they're gonna be talking. So I think that it could be a good problem to have, knowing that they're gonna try and bust you in the mouth, and you better come with it because they're gonna try their best to embarrass you. So if they come in there sleepwalking, I promised Houston's gonna punch them in the mouth. But the only positive outlook I can say that you can be hype about, knowing that if they don't bring it, they're going to get embarrassed. So they better bring it because the Houston's going to try and embarrass them.
We will see. All right. Look at that. Sorry, that's not very good radio for me to read text messages, but it was. I saw two words in a text message that piqued my interest. Something's coming up on LouisianaSports.net. Matt's writing up right now. I'm going to see if I can get some information on that and then maybe talk about it in the next segment, but we'll see. We got one segment to go. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website, HighlandIG.com. Look, I tell you about property and casualty all the time with the Highland Insurance Group. They're great at it. They're also great with benefits, employee benefits, health insurance for your business. That's a big deal in terms of talent acquisition and talent retention. You got to make sure your benefits are good. And there is a specific carrier that a lot of folks have that are really raising rates. And Jonathan Carver and his team at the Highland Insurance Group have seen an uptick in calls that they've gotten saying, hey, I'm just so uncomfortable with this benefits premium increase. Can we get another option? And they can. They absolutely can. So if you're looking for a second option, another opinion on benefits for your business in 2026 because rates are just getting to a spot that's untenable for you and your bottom line, contact the Highland Insurance Group and say, hey, what can we do? Jonathan Carver and his team would be happy to sit down with you with those benefits, have that discussion. Of course, as I mentioned, they're great with property and casualty as well. They can handle that for you. If you're a January renewal, want to get in there and see them, you can certainly do it. They're online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, online at HighlandIG.com.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping up shop here on this Monday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. It's actually been a really fast-moving show. I figured it would be with all the stuff that went on over the weekend. We've covered a lot. Talked about college football playoff, both the good games and the ridiculous games. We talked about LSU and the Texas Bowl. We talked about the Saints getting a big win back on Sunday. So plenty that we've discussed, including LSU basketball. Briefly, Tigers back on the hardwood tonight, 7 o'clock against Prairie View A&M. I got to preview that game up at LouisianaSports.net. Prairie View's best player from Scotlandville, and he'll be getting some shots up tonight. He's a volume shooter. I'm sure he'll be putting them up in front of friends and family tonight in the PMAC. So it'll be LSU and Prairie View. I don't anticipate the Tigers having any issues with Prairie View this evening. 2 more non-conference games for LSU before they get into the grind of conference play starting with the 1st of January. So lots that we've covered over the last 2 hours. Appreciate y'all for being with us. Hope y'all are traveling safely if you're doing that. Palmers are headed north tomorrow after the show. Going to head north to Shreveport for a couple of days. Be back on Saturday for a pregame for LSU in Texas in the Texas Bowl. Tomorrow's show is going to be jam-packed. We've got to get everything in for the entire week in tomorrow's show. So we'll talk a little bit about the Saints and the Titans. We will talk about LSU and Houston. We'll give picks for those games. We'll talk about the college football playoff that's coming up. Lots that we'll do on tomorrow's show, including chat with Glenn West and Sharif Ishak and Colin Jeter as well. So fired up for tomorrow's show, and then we'll be done for the week. But for today, one last order of business is, of course, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. If you're swinging by and picking up something cold on the way to the family gathering for Christmas, make it Flight by Yingling. Gonna have 3 or 4 light beer right here. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, delicious flavor, everything you're looking for in that light beer. It is Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All right, let's start it off with everybody's favorite Notre Dame, as it's been announced today that Notre Dame and USC are preparing to skip their annual rivalry game just for the second time in 8 decades, administration plans to restart the rivalry in 2030, apparently. The news comes at the same day as the Fighting Irish announced a new agreement to play BYU in 2026 and 2027. Is this the end of out-of-conference rivalry games? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. We'll still have plenty of those. It sounds like Notre Dame and USC will play. But look, it's Notre Dame has control of its schedule. Yes. They're the only team that does. And I don't think that that's equitable. I think it's ridiculous. And they only played 3 difficult games this year, and they lost 2 of them. And one of the games that they played against a difficult team was USC, and now they're taking them off the schedule. So I don't have strong feelings about it. I don't need Notre Dame to play USC in my life. They can. I don't really care. But the fact that they get to manipulate things that other teams can't because you just got to play with the conference gives you, and the SEC's going to 9 league games while Notre Dame's offloading USC, I think it's just a tough thing to reconcile.
Especially because they could have played BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I don't know if you know about the bowl, but like you just ducked them just to go back and
the Pop-Tart Bowl, baby.
You know, I'm just saying you had a chance to play them, but now whatever. We'll see what Notre Dame and BYU got going on. Okay, so North Carolina is hiring Bobby Petrino as his offensive coordinator for Bill Belichick's staff. According to On3's Chris Lowe and Pete Nakos, is Bill building up a coaching Avengers? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. Look, Petrino is a great offensive coach, man. He is a great offensive coach. It was they were mediocre at Texas A&M, and a lot of that was Jimbo Fisher's offense. But he had a great offense this year at Arkansas. They were a terrible team because they couldn't stop anybody, and they made ridiculous mistakes late in games time and time again. Memphis game was pathetic with the fumbles, and but he scores points, and he had Taylor Green leading the country in total offense, and I thought it would have been reasonable for Arkansas to keep him around, but he's going to score points at North Carolina, I'm sure. We'll see.
I mean, we'll see, especially because we seen who his past coordinator was, my cousin Freddie Kitchens. So it's time, we need to upgrade, Bill. We need to upgrade. So Juwan Johnson, everybody's favorite Saint, is currently 5th in receptions by a tight end with 70 and 4th in yards at 733 yards, plus 3 touchdowns. Was Juwan Johnson contract over the offseason was a big talking point. So was it worth it looking back at it? Take it or leave it?
Leave
it alone.
I mean, leave it. It's a longer deal than I wanted. It's more money than I wanted.
It was 30 million?
Yeah, but for a very average player. But he had a nice game on Sunday. Yeah. By all accounts, a great guy in the locker room. But I was at a point this offseason where I didn't want to add significant dollars, especially not long term, and that's a reasonably long term deal. So I didn't like the deal then. I don't like it now. You've got some guys that are coming off the books, and that's great. And Juwan Johnson's had a nice year, which is great. But I feel like you could have moved on and gotten cheaper than you did, because I didn't care what the outcomes of games was this year.
Yeah.
So is it a disaster? Is it prohibitive to the franchise in the same way that like Deshaun Watson's contract is? No, it's not. But would I like a do-over? Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Man, him and Shuck, man, they got a nice little combo. There was college. That's crazy to even say that there was college roommates, and Shuck is just getting to the NFL. It's a little, we got to do something about this COVID year stuff. I'm tired of this, but I don't know, man. If Shuck keeps unlocking them, especially because
I didn't ask you how you're feeling about the Saints.
How am I feeling right now? Listen, man, you know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling Saints win streak, Pelicans win streak. Like I'm just a winner at the moment, so I'm feeling great.
I was in New Orleans last night for dinner with some buddies, and one of my buddies that was at dinner had been at a cocktail party previously, and there was a guy there that was telling folks, he said he heard him say it 3 times, the Saints forgot how to lose. They forgot how to lose.
Hey, man, you see it, man. Kellen, look, I was a little hard on Kellen Moore. I can't remember what game it was. It's like, dude, the play calling was god-awful. But these last 3 games, I don't know if it's just he feels more confident with Shuck at quarterback, but he's opened up the playbook. Like it's
the Mason Tipton reverse, Taysom throwing the ball.
We can. I know we don't got no running backs right now. We can slow it down.
You got no running backs.
Yeah, we have no running backs. So let's slow it down with the Taysom touches. But he had it.
Estimate made one really good play where he made 2 guys miss on the sideline,
and that was a grand opening, grand closing. Like that was about all you saw from him and I think the other guy Hall.
But that makes it more impressive for Shuck that he's doing it with no running game and no wide receivers outside of Olave. But as I said in the Saints segment to open the show, if you don't have any wide receivers besides Olave, target Olave 16 times, which they did. Great. So it works for me.
And he also came out and was like, I was contemplating retiring because Derek Carr was giving me all these concussions and all that. So, so the fact that Carr is out the building and now he feels like he's full of life again, hey, man, the sky's the limit. Pelicans make it 5 in a row tonight. You got the Mavericks. This sky's the limit, bro. I don't want to get too hyped. You said it's the Jets. You're right. You're 1,000% correct.
It is the Jets.
They were
the
abysmal.
Jets are just terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. I'm not even going to act like this was
8 sacks.
Yeah, this ain't a riveting win like that. But what you just said.
What it's really going to come down to here is I think they will beat Tennessee. If they don't, then we'll revisit the conversation. But I think they will beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
What it will then come down to is, okay, can you go to Atlanta and win? If they do that, we'll be cooking with grease in the offseason.
You're cooking. Oh, forget grease. You starting a whole cookout, barbecue, all that. If they could do that, Hunt, all I'm gonna say is this: if the Saints can find some type of, if you finish the season 7-10, that's a win. No matter what you say, like, that is a win. You came to the year, maybe 3 games at most. So that's it for take it or leave it.
All right, brought to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Always remind y'all, especially if you're traveling, looking for something to listen to on long drives or flights, you can catch our stuff on demand. If you just want LSU, Hunt on LSU. If you just want Saints, Hunt on Saints. All of our full shows are archived on YouTube or wherever you find your sound. So appreciate y'all for like, subscribe, rate, review. Jordan Cassidy do a great job of getting those updated daily. So those are available if you're looking for something to listen to over the course of the next few days with travel. We'll back tomorrow, and that'll be our last show of the week as we break the final 3 days of the week for Christmas. Matt's out this week and next week. Musa is going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We are back tomorrow. One more pre-Christmas show. 1 to 3 weekdays right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Remind you about First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. When did they start up, First American Bank and Trust? Well, they did in 1910. Things are a little different then. Things are a little different now. They're still here, 115 years later. They got 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. So if you're here in Baton Rouge, if you're over at Jones Creek in Dutchtown, up I-12, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, down Bayou with St. James, St. John, Lafourche Parish, Terrebonne. No matter where you are in Southeast Louisiana, First American Bank and Trust has got a branch near you. And the folks that work there, they're part of the community. All the decisions made on their commercial loans, their personal loans, are made here in South Louisiana. So you don't call center in Chicago or San Francisco, get the runaround. No, you deal with people that are here. They want to wish everybody around a Merry, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Season. Stop by and see them. Bank with someone local. It's First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane